Hello again, welcome back to my channel, Aunty Avon. This is part of the Finding 50 series. Now, I have just uploaded, or maybe a few hours ago now, I've uploaded part 3, episode 3 of my narcissistic relationship. So today, in this video, after speaking to one of my friends who is in a relationship and something's happened to her, and it's just completely thrown her world upside down. So because of that, we went online onto a well-known search engine, of course, and we decided to look up like signs that your partner's not interested, etc, etc. And I stumbled upon this article called When a Person Checks Out of a Relationship, and I was like, what does that even mean? I wasn't quite sure what it meant. So as I read through it, we were really shocked at how similar or how apt it was to the situation. So I thought I would share some of those with you, and just in case you might be going through something with your partner, you just know that something's not right. So I do have some notes as usual. So you're in a relationship and you've had a really good time, like for a long time. It's been nice, it's been okay, you know, you've kind of just let the relationship flow, and then all of a sudden you start to notice little things, and it's that feeling in your gut that you just know something is off. And they say to trust your gut feelings because they are often, if not always, right. Obviously you have to look at other factors. I think sometimes you might have like your own insecurities. You might be struggling at work, you might have a few money worries maybe, or maybe you've put on weight and you just don't feel right about your body, so you've kind of got those insecurities, so maybe your gut feeling might be just a little bit off. So I think it's important to always check any surrounding factors first before you make that decision, or you come to the wrong conclusion basically. I think you can always tell when your partner is pulling away, and you just get that feeling. Of course, they're not going to tell you that they're checking out of your relationship. Hi darling, here's a cup of tea, and by the way, I've checked out of our relationship, bye. They're not going to do that, but quite often it's the little things that they do more than that they say, or in fact don't do anymore, that is what you should be picking up on, and what will probably tell you what you kind of already feel. They might have been really affectionate, and then suddenly it's just not there anymore, and you're having to kind of beg for affection, you know, or just keep picking up on that, or you don't kiss me anymore, or you don't say anything nice, etc, etc. It's those little things. I think sometimes for me, I can see it like as being in a little circle, like as a couple, and then you know, you have this little world of your own together, plus you've got your family and your friends, they're all kind of in that circle, but then suddenly something changes and they kind of shift just ever so slightly, but they've still got one foot in the relationship, so you don't kind of notice it so much. It's not dramatic, but you just feel that they're not quite there. They don't have, or you don't have their full attention. And I think if you're going through that, you will know exactly what I mean. Right, so without further ado, let's get on to 15 signs that your partner may have checked out of the relationship. I'm not an expert, by the way. This is clearly just something that I have experienced, and like my friend is going through now. So number 1, you are in a constant battle with their phone and losing. They're clearly distracted. You're not really their priority in that moment. Again, you're kind of on their peripheral vision, and they are more interested in what's going on their phone, albeit it could just simply be a football game or a random game that they're playing on Facebook or whatever, or they're actually talking to somebody else. So you are now having to fight for attention from them. As you can see, I've now got a flower in my hair because I kind of like to do it and I'd completely forgotten. So I had to stop the video and make sure I put my flower in my hair. Okay, so number 2, they prioritise friends over you. So self-explanatory, they are always making like plans to go and see friends, and they're not really sort of including you in that. So that could be another sign. Number 3, if you do live together but they've also got a place, there's little telltale signs, like they might be taking bits home with them like every week but not actually bringing stuff back. So you start to eventually see that all the stuff that was there at your place is getting less and less. So another sign that they could be getting ready to check out, or they have checked out already and they just don't really want to keep anything there, and that they could be preparing to leave. Number 4, I think this is quite a big one. They stop asking how your day is or how your day was. They stop asking anything about you and your day. And I think that is huge. And this is one thing that my friends noticed. And she said it had been kind of going on for a while, but I think with everything else that was going on, hadn't really noticed as much. This shows that they've got no interest in you. They don't really want to know about your day because they don't really care about you. That's that. Your day is of no interest to them, and you find that you are asking them questions but nothing ever comes back. And I think when you get to that point, like if you're on the phone and you're saying, well, how was your day, da da da, and she was finding this, if they are also with you, like in the room, and you're asking them questions and they're just not even looking at you, they can't even be bothered to engage with you, and they're on their phone. So you're trying to have a conversation with them, but they are literally just more into their phone. Number 5, there are no fights anymore or arguments, which are supposed to be quite a healthy part of a relationship. However, you start to find that you might not try to engage in an argument, but they've done something and you want to question them over it, or you are sort of trying to get to the bottom of something, but they don't respond. They don't respond in any way, they go silent. It's one of the signs that they just can't be bothered. You know, they're not into the relationship anyway, so why are they bothering to even engage in this pointless argument? That's quite an interesting one, I think, because nobody likes an argument, do they? But they do say it's a very healthy part of a relationship, and it kind of gets that frustration out, and then you make up and everything's lovey-dovey and wonderful again. Number 6, they are making future plans, but you are not part of it. Now, I think this is a really sad one as well, and it could relate to, like, they're going to an event but they've not asked you. They're going to see their family but they've not asked you. It's future plans. It doesn't have to be far into the future. It could just be very, recent. Obviously future plans as well. There's kind of nothing, is there? There's like nothing to sort of look forward to. If they can't commit to any future plans, whether it is next week or next year, obviously they've got a very good reason for it, then that's different. But if they don't, and it's very wishy-washy excuses, then you need to be looking at that. Number 7, now this is another big part. The intimacy stops. Now obviously that is a very worrying sign for anybody. Now as we get into a relationship, for a long time, people that have been married for 200 years, they might not want sex as much as they did before, but it's not just sex. There's the whole thing. Apparently humour is a very big part of emotional intimacy. Now I would never have said that, but I suppose that does make quite a lot of sense. So if you find that you're no longer laughing together as a couple, you don't find things funny together that you might used to have found funny, like the same programs on TV or this, that and the other, then the emotional connection is going, or has gone. Then there's the little things like the cuddling and the kissing and the touching, and there's no longer the hugs there anymore, like just a random hug or a random kiss on the cheek, or they might come up behind you and give you a big squeeze and just say I love you, it's those little things as well. If that's all stopped, then that's quite worrying. And then of course there's the big one, the sex. When you first meet, you know, you're full on passionate, you want to just do everything. I was going to say eat each other, but then that sounds really bad, but now I've just said it anyway. Oh my goodness. So yes, you want to sort of just dive onto each other all the time, you know, and nothing is too much trouble. You know, he wants to please you, you want to please him, you make sure that each other are pleased first before yourself, and then suddenly that all stops. And especially I think with a man, you know, it kind of then just becomes about him and his pleasure and his release, and your needs don't matter if he's not willing to engage or whether and not make any effort to change it and make you feel more loved and like you actually matter. Then chances are that they've probably checked out already. Part of that as well, I think, when they stop giving you compliments, like the little things, you know, oh, you're so pretty, or oh, you're fit, you know, or that looks really good on you, or you look fab in that, your hair looks nice. And now there's negative comments maybe, or should you wear that, you know, or that colour doesn't really suit you anymore, that sort of thing. And you know, or they keep picking out like your fat bits, you know, like when they keep drawing attention to it. And yeah, they may sort of laugh about it, but I think if that's all that you're getting, that's the only kind of intimacy that you're getting, then there is something seriously wrong there, definitely. Okay, so number 8, money is becoming an issue, where they may have used to spend money on you sort of without a second thought, and you know, doesn't have to be lavish gifts or anything like that, but it was like, no, I'll pay for that, don't worry, you know, I want you to be happy and blah 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 blah. They care about you, they want to please you, that's a really good sign. And then suddenly it stops and they're sort of saying, well, I paid for that last week, or, and it just suddenly becomes an issue when you know clearly that they've got enough money. They may be saving that money because they're wanting to leave and set up a different life. It might not be with anyone else, but they're just getting ready to check out of the relationship. So, number 9, another big one, you feel that he is cheating. Now this doesn't have to be physical cheating. With social media these days, it can be an emotional cheating. Sometimes I think this is worse because it's so much easier and so much more accessible. You could be doing it at 2 in the morning, you know, and your partner would never know because they're asleep. So there is that. So the emotional cheating, you just know, you can feel it, you can see it. Some of the massive signs are the change in behaviour with their phones. Now we all know how easy it is to speak to others via your phone. You have WhatsApp, you have Messenger, you know, texts, maybe voicemails, etc, etc, etc. You've got a number of platforms that you can do that on. So if your partner suddenly puts a password on their phone or their laptop or computer, whereas before it was always open, that's a sign. 2, they've always got their phone with them. They never leave it alone, even though they've got a password on it. So there's clearly something that they are wanting to keep from you. 3, when they go to bed, they might hide their phone as well. So it could be under their pillow. My friends noticed that. Another sign is when they hide their activity online. Now if your partner was always, you know, showing as active, or on Messenger, for instance, the little green light, you know they're online, and then when they're not, you can tell when they were last on. Then that suddenly stops. Suddenly they've taken that off. And on WhatsApp, suddenly your partner has always been the same for years, last seen on whatever time, then suddenly that's gone. They are clearly hiding their activity from you because they don't want you to see how often they're online. Another one that they're emotionally cheating is when they're texting all the time, and you can see that they are happy when they're receiving this text or a sort of message. They start to smile, they start maybe laugh a little bit, and you're not actually included, and you just feel that isolation forming. That is telling you, you just know. It's different if a partner is sat with you and they're like, oh, I'm just texting my mum, or I'm just texting so and so, you know, friend that you both know. That, you know, that they're still engaging you, so they are interested, and you know, they don't mind sharing that information with you, but suddenly they've stopped sharing that sort of information with you. So yeah, make sure you look out for that. Also, another big one is that they are adding random friends on Facebook that you don't know, and you're wondering how they know this person, because they don't go anywhere to meet these sorts of people. So where are they meeting them from? And that is one of the big signs that my friends noticed. Her partner started to add quite a lot of women on Facebook. So your partner starts to add friends that you have no idea where they've come from or who they are. And then you click on one of their profiles and you see that he or she has liked like every single photo that they've put up in the last week. Your partner wants to be noticed by this person. There is no doubt about that. Make no mistake, they want to be noticed. So that's why they're liking everything. Dun, dun, dun. And why are they liking it? Because they're interested. Big sign. Don't excuse it. Okay, number 10. Calls and texts that you have sent are either 1, not being read, 2, being read and not responded to. So that is another big sign. If you have sent a message, okay, they might be busy at work, but sometimes they might just say, give me 10 minutes, I'll respond. But if you find that they or you have sent them a message and they've read it and then they don't respond to you for hours and hours, you know full well that they have actually looked at their phone probably several times since you sent that. So either 1, they are choosing to ignore you, which isn't good, or 2, they've just forgotten about you, which is equally not good, because it just means, again, goes back to that peripheral vision, you're on the outside. They don't really think of you as being in their life, so you're not on their radar. So what are you still doing in that relationship? It's not nice, it is not fun, and it's very cruel, I think. It confirms that you've dropped from their priority ranks, if you like. Number 11, they don't confide in you anymore. So everything you used to share, you know, about your day, about this, that and the other, a member of their family might have pissed them off or something, and they're just like, oh, you know, blah blah blah, and you discuss everything and you reassure your partner and everything's back to normal, and you know, you have a glass of wine and life is good again. Number 12, you are more roommates than partners. So we've already discussed like the lack of kisses and cuddles, that emotional connection that you used to have. It's just suddenly gone, and now you kind of feel more like best mates, or not even best mates. I think roommates is probably a good description, because you know, best mates would still tell each other things and you'd still confide in each other. You might just lose the intimacy side of things, but everything else is kind of still there. So where he might have slapped you on the bum, you know, or sort of gone, ooh, you know, and given you a big squeeze and cuddle and kiss and all of that lot, suddenly he's gone to like slapping you on the arm like a mate at school or college, and instead of calling you babe or, you know, anything nice, he's now reverted to calling you names like twat and you're an idiot, or they might call you mate instead of babe. I notice as well, like with texts, I think when you start losing the affection, like no kisses on the end of texts, it's a real big deal to girls. It's a massive deal. It's like, oh, and they're the little things you kind of notice first. Number 13, they are finding more and more reasons to stay away from you, even at home. So, okay, they might start working late for a start. They might go to the pub after work rather than coming straight home. They might go shopping to get stuff that they want rather than go shopping with you or spend time with you at home. They might find other little reasons, and a big sign is they start to detach from you at home. So you're at home together, you have the chance to spend some time together. They are normally sat on the sofa with you, you're watching a film, but they aren't that engaged with it, they're on their phone. Also, they might have their own space in the house and they keep disappearing to that space. Number 14, they find you annoying. So whereas before they would have laughed at something that you did, it was quite cute, it goes back to me saying that you're more like mates and they call you a twat or an idiot and things like that. So, or they just get fed up with something that you do now that you've always done, but suddenly it's annoying. But you could twist that and say that you might find their little quirks start to grate on you and start to annoy you now. So you could have checked out from, so everything that they or you might have found very cute and adorable in the beginning is now highly annoying. And number 15, they barely know you exist, which again ties in with the texting and the calling. You call them, you have to leave a message because they don't answer the phone and then they don't get back to you. You text them, they don't read your texts, and when they do, they don't reply. That is huge. You do not exist to them, therefore you don't really matter. So why would they even bother getting back to you? And again, when they say, oh sorry, I forgot to reply, how do you forget? You're in a relationship with this person. How do they forget to even message you back? I get if their job is so busy and they just have no time at all, but when you see them online, you clearly think, well, they're talking to someone, so they have got time to be online, they just haven't got time for you. I just want to add one more that I've just suddenly thought of that she mentioned. They stop bothering about their appearance for you. They stop with their hygiene. They don't have a shower before bed. They don't brush their teeth. These are kind of indicators that they don't want to have any passion with you. They don't really care about making themselves presentable for you like they did in the beginning. And especially when you're still making an effort and you brush your teeth, you know, you brush your hair, you put a bit of perfume on or something, you know, you wear something nice to bed, and they just get into bed and they turn over as well. These are all massive signs that they've checked out of the relationship. And if you talk to them and try to address it and yet they don't acknowledge any of it, then they are not bothered. And you have to accept that. You have to accept that the relationship is probably over if they're not willing to discuss it. I mean, there's one thing to behave, you know, show signs that I've just explained, but if you're not willing to talk about it with your partner and actually rectify any of it, if you know that your partner is upset by anything that you are doing, but they're not willing to rectify it to make you happy again, then they've already checked out. As painful as it is, I think once you start accepting it, it's going to be a lot easier to just move on. Sure, you're going to have your days. You're going to have your real down days where you're like, I wasn't ready for this, you know, I never saw this coming and I feel like an idiot, I feel like a fool. Yes, you probably will. And, you know, allow those feelings, but don't let it destroy you, because it isn't your fault. Things happen in a relationship, you know, people grow apart. The people that you were when you first met, you have to grow. Now either you grow together and you develop that relationship as you're going along, or you start to go on different pathways. And I think when that happens, that's when, you know, one or both of you have checked out, and it's probably time to hang up your hat or your coat and say adios. So anyway, that brings me to the end of this insightful video. Or I hope you found it insightful and informative. If you have, please make sure to give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. if you are in a relationship and after looking at this video you suddenly have no doubt that your relationship is virtually over, try and talk to your partner if you can. Like I said, if they're not willing to even acknowledge it, to acknowledge your feelings, or just even talk about anything, then, you know, make sure you do the right thing for yourself. Don't put up with it. I put up with mine for a long time. My friend has put up with it probably for the last 2 years. It's a sad fact that people just kind of stay in a relationship and would rather be nasty to that person than just say, you know, I do love you, but as a mate, don't feel the same way like that, blah blah blah, and just leave, you know, because in the end it's so much easier to deal with if you can talk things through. You have to accept people don't stay in love with someone, you know, it's part of life, but I think to drag it out more than it needs to be is cruel. I'm going to stop there because I could go on forever and ever like a Duracell battery. So I need to stop right now and say I hope you tune in next week for part 4 of my narcissistic relationship series or episode. So I look forward to seeing you next Monday. So until next time, I'm Karen. Have a nice day. Bye.